Do you ever feel like you're not good enough to become a mangaka? Maybe your art feels lacking or your story's full of plot holes, and you spend years trying to improve your art skills and developing your story only to realize years have passed and you still don't have your manga. Well, we've worked with over 400 aspiring anime and manga artists in our one-shot manga drawing program. They've been in your shoes. But now, they've gone on to creating their first finished manga, they've monetized their art, and they've gained so much more confidence as artists. Let's get this straight. It's not your lack of art skills, or writing skills, or even storytelling skills that's the biggest issue. It's actually these 4 Ps: perfectionism, paralysis, procrastination, and people. In this video, we'll talk more about these 4 Ps, how you can overcome them, and finally take the right steps towards making your manga. If you've been feeling stuck and insecure about your manga for years, and you finally want to learn the right skills and gain the confidence to put your story out into the world so you can create a personal legacy and open publishing opportunities, then we invite you to join our online one-shot manga drawing program. You'll receive mentorship from pro-Japanese mangakas through live weekly Zoom sessions. And you'll be with a supportive community of fellow aspiring mangakas. It's time to transform your manga journey. We only have room for 5 more new students. Book a free consultation call with us to see if we're a good fit to work together. The link is in the description. Perfectionism. The first P we're going to talk about is one of the biggest things holding you back. I want you to meet Steven. He's one of our students who struggled with this. He's always been a passionate storyteller. Once he decided to tell his stories through manga, he realized he had to improve his art skills. When we asked about his biggest challenge since working together, he said,
"The biggest challenge has been not doubting myself. I often put myself down too much because I'm not satisfied with my art yet."
When a lot of beginners decide, I want to make manga, they're just bursting with passion and ideas. But when they start, eventually, reality kicks in.
It's not turning out the way I wanted to. It's not perfect.
Beginners often burn out because they're trying to create a masterpiece with hardly any experience. When a scene doesn't come out right or the story isn't flowing, those little frustrations can pile up. And suddenly, it feels like everything you've made is just garbage. You get scared, thinking you'll never be good enough to succeed. This is what's holding you back. It's this idea of perfection. But here's the thing. There's no such thing as perfect art or perfect story or even perfect manga. You're chasing after the impossible. So don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. And FYI, Steven has been making progress. And the past 2 months since we've worked with him, he said,
"I'm getting better. I see I'm getting better. I've learned to enjoy my finished work and feel happy with it. I feel like I'm making progress."
If you can just get 1% better every day, imagine how far you'd come with consistent effort 1 year later. So here's what you can do to avoid getting sucked down the perfectionist rabbit hole and make sure you keep moving forward. Set realistic goals. Do you know why people feel disappointed? It's because their expectations are way up here and reality is way down there. So they feel unhappy. Just to be clear, we're not saying to lower your expectations, but instead create more realistic mini goals and milestones that would help you get closer to your bigger goal. For example, instead of spending years or even decades perfecting your 50 to 100 chapter magnum opus, start with a one-shot. Instead of trying to do 50 to 80 pages for your one-shot, do 16 to 20 first. If you're struggling to do 16 to 20 pages, then start with just a 1-page yonkoma. FYI, if you don't know what a yonkoma is, it literally means 4 panels in Japanese. You basically finish a full thought in just 4 panels on 1 page. If you haven't tried it yet, it's actually a great way to practice your storytelling skills. And you can start today. Anyway, if you want to be a mangaka but have never made a manga before, then that has to change now. And you can start with small, achievable goals. We've all been there, spending hours on one panel, erasing, redrawing over and over until it feels perfect.
It's not going well.
But guess what? That could easily eat up so much time. And before you know it, you find yourself stuck for days, weeks, or even months doubting what you've already made. Here's a simple trick. Set a revision limit. We suggest limiting your drafts to about 2 to 3 initial revisions. During the storyboarding stage, it's common for professional mangaka to revise their storyboards at least 2 to 3 times after getting feedback. So once you've reached that limit, move on to the next panel or the next page, whatever you're stuck on. This is to build discipline and keep you from getting trapped in the endless loop of tweaking every little detail. This forces you to move on, make progress, and actually finish something. Remember this. It's way better to have an imperfect draft on paper than to have a perfect story in your head. Your draft is something tangible, something real. It's the first step in making your ideas come to life. It's okay if it's rough or sketchy. Our pro mangaka mentors always say,
Your first draft doesn't need to be a masterpiece.
here are some drafts from Hirohiko Araki, the creator of JoJo. Look at how his storyboards look almost like chicken scratch. Also, here are some earlier works from Tatsuki Fujimoto, the creator of Chainsaw Man. He concentrated on putting his story idea on paper rather than perfecting his artworks. Rough drafts give you a chance to experiment and explore your ideas without the pressure of perfecting it. Learn to embrace them. When you're chasing perfection, the more you'll overthink every little detail. And before you know it, you're completely stuck. You know Zenitsu from Demon Slayer? At the start of the series, he's a slayer who can only fight when he sleeps. Because when he's awake, his nerves and fear hold him back. When he's in dangerous situations, his fear of death, of failing to protect himself and the people he cares about, paralyzes him. His anxiety goes into overdrive, and he literally overthinks so much to the point of passing out.
Zenitsu!
I mean, he's kind of an extreme example, but you get the point, right? This is the second P that's holding you back: paralysis. You're scared of making mistakes, not knowing where to start, or worrying that you won't be good enough. As a result, you end up doing nothing at all. Like Zenitsu, this overwhelming fear of failure stops you from taking action. Yes, fear can paralyze you, but only if you let it. By the end of the manga, Zenitsu beats his fears and becomes one of the strongest fighters. He learns to fight while he's awake. How? He stopped running away. His strong will and desire to protect others pushed him to face his fears and take action. And that's the key: taking action. Pushing yourself to start, even when you feel afraid and anxious, builds momentum. So let's do that now. Let's push you to start. Here's a challenge for you. I want you to set a timer for 30 minutes and make a yonkoma. As mentioned earlier, a yonkoma tells a story in just 4 panels. When you're creating a yonkoma, keep the idea simple. Think of something interesting that happened to you today and communicate that through a yonkoma. Maybe a bee came into your room, like our student Thomas. Maybe you had a good exercise session, like Devarius. Even if you feel blocked or unsure, try to force yourself to finish within the time limit. Don't worry, it doesn't have to look polished. Your scenes can look rough and sketchy. Once you're done, give yourself a pat on the back. Congratulations, you've just made your first manga. You can keep doing more yonkoma to develop your storytelling skills. You get to learn how to effectively deliver a beginning, middle, and end in just a few panels. And it's super simple. It's small, but it's a start. It's progress. Which leads me to procrastination. This is the enemy of progress and ultimately your success. I talked to quite a few aspiring mangakas in their early 20s, and they tell me
I'm young. I have time to learn and make manga.
And ironically, when I talk to people in their 30s or 40s, they tell me,
I wish I took it more seriously when I was younger and worked on my manga sooner.
if you keep telling yourself,
I'm too busy. I'll practice drawing tomorrow. I'll work on my script later.
before you know it, you get caught in a never-ending cycle of procrastination. And if you don't practice, then what happens? You never get better, you keep feeling insecure, and you don't make progress. Time is our most valuable resource. Once it's gone, you can never earn it back. So if you know that creating your manga will bring you a deep sense of joy and fulfillment, then invest your precious time into it, knowing that it's going to be worth it in the end. Here's a tip to get you started, and it would literally only take you 5 seconds. The moment you feel like drawing or writing or working on your manga, act on that within 5 seconds. If you wait too long, your mental habits will take over and kill your momentum. You don't want to give yourself the chance to overthink or doubt yourself. This is called the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins, and it will definitely change your life. One of the hardest things to do is to start. But once you overcome that and you're already in the middle of sketching, writing, practicing, it won't feel as bad anymore. Can you guess what the secret is to achieving your manga goals? It's consistent daily action. It's the small things that you do every day that grows into something bigger. Action gives you control over your future. It opens opportunities and it helps you actually achieve your goals.
Yay!
If you tell me you want to be a mangaka but barely do anything about it because of so many different reasons, then that's not a goal. That's a wish. And I'm not your fairy godmother, so I can't magically make that your reality.
大丈夫?
But what I can do is try to provide you with an opportunity where the actions you take are as focused and meaningful and impactful as possible. An opportunity where you get to have an exact roadmap on how to make a successful manga with the mentorship of pro Japanese mangakas. Ready to act on it? You've got 5 seconds to book a free manga consultation call with us. The link is in the description. When you have moments of self-doubt, sometimes it's not enough to just get out of it by yourself. No one learns everything on their own. You're gonna need support from the right people. And sometimes you can't find that within your immediate circle of family or friends. What if they don't read or even like manga? It's hard to actually get good advice. What's worse is if you surround yourself with people that tell you,
There's no future in art. You're just wasting time. Shouldn't you be doing something more practical?
even if you try not to listen to the negativity, subconsciously, you start to believe what they say. You lose confidence. You lose motivation. That's why you need to find your tribe, your people. People that will support you, that will encourage you, that will give you the right kind of advice. And sometimes that involves constructive criticism and some tough love when you need it. You can join online communities on Discord, Reddit, Facebook, X, Instagram. And hey, if you're watching this video, you can probably introduce yourself in the comments and find a friend. Don't underestimate the power of someone saying, I get it, or I see you. That kind of simple acknowledgement can be incredibly motivating, and it reminds you that you're not alone. We've spoken to our students who have struggled trying to find other people in their lives who understand their dream. In fact, needing a supportive community was one of the reasons they even joined our program. Our student Garrett said,
I'm thankful for the support and encouragement of my coaches and peers. I wouldn't have made it this far without them.
Courtney said,
It's just nice to know that even with all that, we're all striving to make our own mangas. It's nice to be unified in a common goal.
having people in your corner can give you the confidence to tackle your next panel, your next page, your next chapter. They can motivate you to keep going, and you can all celebrate your wins together. With the right support system, even the toughest challenges feel less difficult. Whenever you're feeling stuck, you can use these tips to crush your self-doubt instead of letting your self-doubt crush you. Now, it's time to make manga. If you want even more direction on where to start, watch this video.